This is another fishing podcast.
FluxJet. This is a jet-powered kayak. Check this out.
Hey guys, I'm here at ICAST 2025 with Jason Woods with FluxJet, and I asked him to walk us through the first ever electric jet kayak. And so let's start with the motor. We're all pretty excited about it. Jason, what do we got here? What makes this different than anything else on the market?
Super excited to finally be able to show people what's behind the curtain here. This is basically 10 years worth of R&D all coming together, and we're going to launch it right now in the kayak, and we're super excited to show you. People are going to associate this with a jet ski, but
So yeah, I'm going to kind of pause and as this video goes along, but want to say thank you to Wendell Fishing's YouTube channel. This is where we're getting this. Okay, so check out Wendell Fishing. This is where this comes from. He did this video of the FluxJet. This is the best video I've seen of it that really goes in depth with what this kayak's all about. So it is a jet drive system, has a great system. The first thing that I was concerned about is with jet systems, they can suck in vegetation, right? And in kayak fishing, you're going to be putting your kayak in a lot of situations that, where there's going to be vegetation. So they're going to address that. But just look at how well designed this thing is.
it's actually nothing like a jet ski. So what we have here is our weedless intake system on the outside. So a lot of design time went into making sure that this thing will filter off any junk and debris in the water. And then once you pull the grate off, you see the magic piece. This is the FluxJet drive. So it is a fully integrated electric jet drive system. So basically what we've done is, this is essentially, the best analogy I can give you is a hub motor for an e-bike. This is the hub motor jet drive. So what we've done is actually wrap the motor around the outside of our impeller. There's only one moving part, so you can see the motor's wrapped right around the impeller. Makes it super quiet, makes it ridiculously efficient, super easy to build, super easy to service, and then this guy just drops straight into a pocket on the bottom of the boat, and it's all protected inside the kayak. The cool thing is our wires pass through this little scupper plug into the boat, and then our steering shaft comes into your nozzle there to steer the boat, and it's all just drop in. So this thing is totally serviceable. 4 screws, bolt that thing in, you're good to go.
So if there is an issue, you don't have to you just pull this out and send it to you guys.
That is it.
That's
yeah.
it.
I mean, and really, it's only 4 bolts and you can disassemble this whole thing.
Right.
We use ceramic bearings in it. This thing is designed to run basically indefinitely, and I only do saltwater stuff personally, so this thing is designed to live underwater.
Yeah. This one's 3D printed, so if you guys are getting it, but you guys are getting the
oh yeah. So this is the demonstrator just to be able to show you what it is, but this actually, even 3D printed, this drive can actually handle up to 5 kilowatts.
All right.
Self-contained. So that guy drops back in, throw our ride intake back on, and then our cover plate, drop that guy on, you're ready to go.
Like it.
So if you want to see what that looks like in the boat, you can see back here that same cover plate. Now it's flipped around the other way, steering nozzle, and the drive's just sitting up there in the pocket. So then up top, we've got your traditional turntable that would normally steer your rudder, is now controlling our nozzle. So we don't need to have any skeg or any rudder hanging off the back of the boat. So everything's flush and clean. Now,
So my first question is basically how fast is this thing going to go? Jets are great. Okay, a kayak just in general, you're going to be able to take it in very shallow water. My kayak, I have a Minn Kota Traxxas just mounted to the transom, just a typical transom trolling motor, Minn Kota Traxxas trolling motor, and I tilt that thing up so I can go in super shallow water. Now, I mean, honestly, the thing is, I am still hitting things, even with it, tilted up. So this is probably a better design, but the big question is it going to be sucking up stuff?
To hit when you go in shallows, if you're running rivers, it's just easy to be able to get in anywhere you want to get to. This thing is amazing in the weeds. It's so crazy. You get in super shallow, and it doesn't even disturb the plants as you go by.
So there you go. If that is the case, which I'm going to be showing a video here shortly, if that's the case, if that's actually true, then this could be a great design.
Float out if it gets too much stuff in there, or just stuff does not really get in it?
Yeah, stuff really doesn't get in it. I did take it into a floating bank of reeds just to try to pack it up. I drove out of the bank of reeds and did a 3-second reverse kick, and it just ejects everything, and away you go. Yeah, so there was nothing happier than watching that big chunk of stuff just, I mean, after worst case scenario, kick it in reverse and watching it all just float away as I drive off. It's pretty great.
All right, what other features do we have?
So if he's you know, obviously this is his baby, you know, so it's in his best interest to tell you how great this thing is. But if he is not full of it here, sounds like a good dude. Seems like a good dude. Seems, you know, honest, trustworthy. I don't know. I don't get any bad vibes from the guy. If that is true, if this thing does not clog up, this could be just a fantastic kayak.
Kayak outside the motor.
All right, there's a bunch of cool hidden stuff. So you'll see we got our throttle integrated on the side here. You got forward, reverse, that's all built in flush. I didn't want anything to catch, anything to snag on. You'll see we've got our battery hidden here under the seat.
Yeah, move the award out of the way.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta move my awards out of the way real quick. So real simple, we got it up to group 31 battery. This thing can run anywhere between 12 and 60 volts. So you can drop any battery you have in there, and what it'll do is it will scale power based on what voltage you feed it. So if you drop a 12 volt trolling motor battery in here, you're basically gonna get trolling motor speed. It's gonna be 3 miles an hour, something like that. Once you get to 36 volts or higher, you're gonna get that 5, 6, 7 miles an hour out of it, depending on how much weight you've got in the boat. You've got a power.
Now that's pretty cool. So that was my other question, like how fast can this thing go? You know, I would say that for this thing to be, you know, I would want this thing to be fast. It's got a jet on it. I would want this thing to be fast, and I'd want it to be also able to just hold in current. Like when I'm fishing out of my kayak with my trolling motor, you know, I'm back there. I'm constantly making adjustments to make sure, you know, I'm holding in the current. A lot of times the way that my kayak tracks, I can steer just the right way, and that thing's just tracking perfectly. And sometimes I can just lay off, you know, hands off the trolling motor and just be making casts. This design, if, you know, I don't know why it'd be any different with a jet, but if you can still do that with this jet drive, that could be really, really awesome. You have a lithium battery, super powerful. I love the idea that there isn't, you know, there's just no drag. You know, you don't have that trolling motor head dragging. You know, you have a lithium battery, it's lighter. This could be a really just a great setup. And I'm thinking specifically for someone like me that I want to get way upstream and go through some heavier current. Can it get me there? Can it get me through, you know, heavier current way upstream? And then can I hold in current to fish with this thing? And then obviously I do not want to get snagged up. That thing cannot get clogged up. That the whole idea of this thing is ruined if the jet drive gets clogged up with debris.
Switch on the front and our breaker, that's the main off. You can shut the whole boat off. So up here we got our control panel with our power meter, and this meter is programmable to any different battery type you might be using. And then down below we've got our switches to control our deck lighting, our navigation lights, and then we've got our 5 volt out for our GoPro charge, phone charger, all that type of thing. One of the cool things that we did on this boat that people don't realize is we've actually integrated voltage regulators into the boat that will also give you 10 amps at 12 volts to power all your accessories. So I'm right now running a 38 volt battery in here that's also powering all our Garmins and all that stuff. So you don't have to have separate batteries. It filters all the line noise for you. So basically we wanted to make this thing where you just plug in, you don't have to do any wiring, it's just ready to go. And then as we start to move forward, what you'll see up here is our foot steering. So you want to have your hands free while you're out there fishing. So basically you set your throttle speed how fast you want to go, and then you're just using your feet to steer while you can fish hands free. And then as you come forward,
yeah, that's
this one
a
has
big
all
deal.
the Garmin's.
I mean, that's a super big deal there. Yeah, I really love that, to be able to steer hands free. And if you could just, you know, hold in current with this thing, I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to. Just hold in current with this thing and then steer with your feet, have your hands available to cast. Oh my goodness gracious. This could be such a great kayak. I'm very interested to see how, like, the first, people getting the first models of this thing, they're coming off the line, if it's as great as I think it could be.
On it. So we've got our cover that comes included with the boat is this cover, which gives you some hard storage space up in the front, but you can also pull all this off and just open the whole boat up if you just want to have the maximum deck space. Gives you the options there. Tons of track throughout the whole boat. We've got 4 rod holders integrated, 2 forward, 2 rear. Tracks throughout the entire boat and a little track down in the bottom. We just wanted to give you the ability to have some 3-dimensional, if you want to run straps, compression straps, that type of thing, gives you another point to pick to down in the bottom of the boat.
All right, so I see the riggability. In your opinion, how does this paddle?
It paddles great, actually.
Okay, so there's 2 things there. That's a great question. Can you still paddle this thing? I fished a kayak tournament where you cannot use motors. Okay, so you got to be able to paddle it. So that's a great question. The other thing, can you put a trolling? A lot of guys, I don't have a trolling motor up front, but can you actually mount a trolling motor to the bow of this thing? Is the other question. Maybe he's getting to it.
Close to any other, large fishing boat that's 11 feet, 35 inches wide.
Yep.
It's very close to any of those. The nice thing is we have no drag, so we're not pulling any extra stuff through the water. So essentially, it's just another kayak until you turn the motor on.
So give me your thought process into stability with the chines underneath. What do we got?
Yeah, so hull-wise, we kind of went the other direction. I mean, we started with an 11-foot boat, which is pretty weird in the industry to start with, because 10.6 just wasn't enough, and 12 was too big to be able to really manage on the roof. So we ended up at 11 feet and a ton of float volume.
Yep.
You'll see that really tall sidewalls on this thing gives it massive primary stability. And then the secondary stability really comes from having this battery recessed all the way down into the deck. So our CG is super, super low. Our center of gravity, super, super low in this boat. So instead of having a super heavy kayak for stability, we made the boat light and then use the battery weight as our ballast down low to keep it stable.
Okay.
But this boat is designed to get into rough water. So that's one of the things where we really departed from what everyone else is doing. It's definitely not a bass boat. This thing's got more in common with a Coast Guard cutter than it does with a bass boat. So up in the front, we just wanted a lot of volume for running rivers, for getting out in the ocean, that type of stuff. I wanted this thing to be able to climb up waves rather than punching into wave faces. And it's actually a semi-planing hull. So you'll see in some of our videos, this thing, by the time it hits 3 miles an hour, is already starting to plane out. So the efficiency that we're getting by combining the hull with the drive as one complete package is just, it's phenomenal. Like, as we're collecting data, it's getting very, very exciting right now as we're starting to see at the higher speeds. I think as batteries get better, because that's really the limiting factor right now is the batteries that are available, and there's some new really exciting stuff like the solid state batteries that we're starting to see that are doubling capacity. Right now on the market is a 3,400 watt hour Group 31 battery.
Oh, wow.
I mean, that's like 3 regular lithium batteries in that one box.
Yeah, so that's a really good point. So I did a podcast recently with Taylor Sprangle Performance Marine in Anoka, Minnesota. Great boat rigger. He knows everything that's going on with boat rigging and batteries in particular. And he made it a point. I remember towards the end of the podcast, he was talking about this new battery technology that's just mind-blowing that's coming out. So you get a battery on this thing that could really get it up to speed, just cooking, like fast. Like for me, I want to get up river, right? The biggest thing for me, like having my trolling motor, it's like 55 pound thrust trolling motor I have on my new canoe. New canoe's got a flat transom. It's a Frontier 12. It has a flat transom on the back. I can just bolt that thing, bolt it basically onto the back of the kayak, the new canoe, and go upstream. But it's only 55 pound thrust. I'm using just an old school deep cycle battery. Okay, super heavy. And this new lithium battery technology, lighter and more power, and the power lasts a long time, that's going to be a big deal for this kayak and could really allow me, like, it can be a real pain for me to be able to get upstream because number one, upriver with all the current, especially if we've had a lot of rain. If this kayak, this FluxJet, doesn't have that drag, right? Doesn't have a trolling motor head sitting in the water, and causing drag. So no drag there. If it can get me upstream through heavy current, especially with this new battery technology, more power, and then the battery lasts, that's a huge deal. I'm super intrigued by this thing.
Give me runtime, full power.
The higher voltage you go, the more efficient it is. This thing is basically going to give you take anything that's on the market right now, it's going to be 20% better than that across the board generally.
Yeah.
So it just depends. I mean, really when you start to get to that high speed is really where we're going to win because we start to gain efficiency in this hull as you start to get to those higher speeds. So it just really depends, but you're definitely going to get, you're going to come back after a full day fishing with 3/4 of a charge type of situation.
Right.
So we're targeting multiple days without recharging is our goal on this thing. So
weight capacity, what's it rated for? And how do you determine your rating? Because that's not really standardized across the industry.
Yeah, and the kayak industry is kind of weird because they have like usable weight and it's all kind of murky. You can put 400 pounds in the boat. So if I can make it simple, the boat as it sits right now will work just fine with 400 pounds in it. It probably could hold more than that, but at this point, 400 pounds I would say is a good working limit.
Jake, as you were filming us, I was looking at this thing. This is doing 360s.
Yeah, that's one of the amazing things about having the vectored thrust. We can literally sit just in one place and just spin 360 circles without moving. And here you'll see, this is cruising about 3 miles an hour right now, and you'll see that jet pocket starting to dry out as this thing is already starting to push on plane. And that's running, 20% power or something. Yeah. But if you look at the wake real close coming off that boat, it's super, super clean. That's the things I obsess over, is just watching the ripples come off the hull and looking how, because every bit of water you disturb is energy loss. So we're trying to make that thing slip through the water like a tuna.
There's a turning radius
I'm talking about right there. Yeah. So I can spin right on point. Like, it's so amazing when you get in the boulders and stuff, and just being able to sit right on station and just spin right around on place.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's
a
really big deal.
A little shot underwater, us cruising over boulders and stuff.
I just want to go to that place. That looks freaking rad.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, it was pretty fun. Yeah, that's an American River of Northern California.
So last question I have for Jason. When can people get their hands on this?
We're going to start rolling these out to just start getting feedback in the next month or so, and then the main roll will be Q1 26.
Q1 2026. Oh man. So hopefully I'll be able to get out to Sacramento, try this out for myself.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we got to make it happen. Okay.
All right, I lied. One more question. How much does it cost?
That's the one everybody wants to know. And we really, with the FluxJet technology, can bring this thing at a value we think that's really going to blow people's minds. This boat is going to come out fully rigged, fully wired, with the drive, ready to run, $2,900.
29. What do you guys think? Throw it in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so obviously he's trying to sell the product. I mean, of course he's going to do that. And so he's going to be like pro FluxJet. I get it, but I like a lot of things about that. Have some questions, of course. Biggest question is it going to suck up stuff? Okay. For me in particular, I'm going to show you a video here shortly. For me in particular, I'm going to be using this on the Mississippi River if I was to get something like this. So I'm going to be using something like this on the Mississippi River. Not a huge amount of grass, but there's Vallisneria. People call it eelgrass. Let's call it eelgrass so we don't sound hoity-toity. Can be quite a lot of that in some areas of the Mississippi River, the upper Mississippi River that I fish. So would that suck in there and clog the motor? That's a big deal. So, but a lot of places that I fish, it isn't really a problem. On the upper Mississippi, you get that grass where you're more slacker water areas that I tend to not concentrate on. So here's this gentleman, the owner. I presume that's who that is that was talking. Here he is testing it out in vegetation.
All right, everybody. Wanted to give you a quick overview and kind of a walkthrough of our first time taking this boat out in weeds. Obviously, we've been working a long time on this intake grate system and being able to make sure that we weren't going to ingest a bunch of junk the first time you take this out into some weeded areas. And here you're going to be able to see the underside of the boat. But one of the tough things is that the GoPro is catching so much weeds as it goes by, it's kind of hard to film. All right, so here we're going to zoom in and we're going to slow this down so you can watch as the weeds slide across the bottom of the boat. They're sliding right over the intake grate, and you can watch them roll right off the back of the boat there.
Yeah, so it's weird how it's not seeming to be
What's really
sucking
crazy is in this
stuff
next
up.
part, you're going to see some floating chunks go by, and they're going to float right over the top of the intake grate. Right there. You can see that chunk is floating right over the intake, and it's completely not even disturbed.
Yeah.
And then rolls right off the back.
So somehow it's
There's another one. Right there. Just cleanly flowing right off the back, and that's what we want. We just want to leave everything right where we found it. Don't even disturb the plant life as we go by.
Yeah, that's super impressive.
And here's another quick shot just from your perspective in the boat, kind of the weeds that we're in. I mean, it's probably 6 inches or so of water. And you can see the plants rolling off the back of the boat, not even disturbed. And there are fish everywhere in this back little pond I was in, just tucked away everywhere. They didn't even notice us floating by in this thing. So this was obviously just the first test, but I think it's really off to a great start.
Yeah, so I'm impressed by it. I am. So that's from FluxJet Kayak's YouTube channel. You can check out more videos on there. I'm sure there's even more on there now since when I last checked. But yeah, there's a lot of the more I watch those videos, the more I'm getting impressed by that. Could be the next boat I get for river fishing. I got a little river next to me, and then I've got the upper Mississippi River not far from me, and it's perfect like kayak stuff. Water for kayaks. So that if you can, like I said, if it's not sucking up stuff, and you're constantly having to clear the impeller and all that nonsense, and you can hold also. So you can also hold in current. And then also, I guess, the consideration is if he's telling the truth with this, and I don't suspect that he's lying, if that battery holds up, that FluxJet is a very, very intriguing option, I think, for just in general for kayak anglers, but particularly for river kayak anglers.